Okay, in this video, we're going to be talking about triangle congruence. And what you're looking at right now are all the theorems that we're going to be discussing. So let's go ahead and get started. This was on your homework, page 150, problem number 4. Okay? It says, determine if you can use the angle side angle theorem to prove the triangle is congruent. Well, the good news is they went ahead and just kind of narrowed it down. All right, so but rather than actually using symbols here, they gave us a couple of details of what the problem is going to show us. It says that triangle VRS and triangle VST, given that VS bisects these two angles here. So VS is this segment that I just highlighted here. So let me take that away just in case it's going to be confusing. It bisects angle RST, which RST is this angle right here, and RVT, which is this angle right here. Okay, so since it bisects, that means it cuts it in half. So what I know is this angle here is going to be congruent to that angle there. Okay, I don't know what the measurements are, but I do know that they're congruent. And notice over here, this angle and this angle too would also be congruent. Okay, so what we have here are two pairs of congruent angles. But the one thing that I also want to bring your attention to is going back to SV, this is the shared side. So it's shared between both triangles. So when you're trying to figure out what's going on, sometimes it's best just to kind of forget about one of the two triangles, because we've already proved that we have three parts of these triangles the same. So I'm just going to kind of just take this away for a moment. And so we have a situation where this angle and this angle are congruent to the corresponding pieces on the other triangle. And then, of course, we have this shared side. So this is a side and a side. I'm sorry, let me restate. That was not a side. This is an angle, and this is an angle with a side in between. So that gives us angle, side, angle. So yes, there is enough information to prove that, and we're going to move on. All right, for question number 5. It says DEH and FGH. We're still dealing with angle, side, angle, but we're not given near as much information. What we do know is that DE and FG, these two segments are parallel to one another. We don't know how long they are, we just know that they're parallel. Okay, so that's all we know with these sides here. But if you notice, vertical angles exist here, and that this angle and this angle are exactly the same. They're congruent. So do we have enough information to prove that both these two triangles are the same? And the answer is no. No, we don't. So let's move on to our next problem here. Here, this is a worksheet that I've picked up off of the internet. So during any time, if you actually want to just go ahead and stop and pause the video and look through this particular worksheet, feel free to do so. I'm going to talk about a few, but I will give you the answer key as we move forward in this video. So let's look at question number 1. This is all the information that we're given. We know that this angle here and this angle here are congruent, and we also know that this side here and this side here are congruent. That's all we know from the labels, that is. But is there anything else that we know regarding this? And it is yes, this shared side right here. Okay, so we know that this shared side is exactly the same. So I want you to kind of look. We have this side and this side congruent. We have this angle and this angle congruent, and when we have a congruent side. Well, once again, if you kind of want to just see it a little better, let's just look at just one of the two triangles. We have an angle, and then we have two sides that are congruent. Now the question is this enough information to prove that this is a theorem? Well, let's find out. So when we look, we notice that the angle is on the outside of the two sides. It's not in between them. And there is no theorem that shows that. Because if you notice in the actual name itself, see how the angle or the name side, angle side, see how the angle's in between? That means that's where the angle has to be, in between the two sides of a triangle. Same concept of here. The side has to be between the two angles. And then, of course, the angle, angle, side. There's nothing in here that says that the angle is the only thing on the outside and we have a situation like this. So we would say no, as in it is not congruent. There's not enough information. Let's look at question number 2. This angle here is congruent to this angle here. This angle here is congruent to this angle here. Is there any more information that we should know? And the answer is yes. It is that shared side. So we have 3 pieces of the triangle that are congruent. So that is, that's good. So now all we got to do is just we got to look, and I'm going to take this away again to see if we have anything that works. So that is an angle, and this is the shared side angle. So we have 2 angles with a side in between, angle, side, angle. Let's move on. Let's look at question number 3. This side is congruent to this side is congruent to this side, and of course we have the shared side that is congruent to each other. So what we have here are 3 pairs of sides that are congruent to one another. That is side, side, side. Let's look at question number 4. We have this side congruent to this side. We have this angle congruent to this angle. Now, is that all the information that we have on this? The answer is no, because this is a vertical angle situation. Okay, so we have 3 pieces of the triangle that we know are congruent to the corresponding pieces of the other triangle. So with that being said, I'm just going to kind of erase this, get rid of it just so it doesn't confuse me. And this is, let's see, that's an angle with a side in between. So that's going to be angle, side, angle. All right, let's keep moving. Now, as I'm moving through this worksheet here, if you happen to see anything that you would like to try yourself, feel free to stop the video and pause it, because near the end of the video, I'm going to have the worksheet, the answer key. I'm going to show you that. All right, let's look at question number 5 here. We have this angle compared to this angle, this side compared to this side. The question is, do I have anything else? Well, the answer is no. I only have 1 pair of angles, and I only have 1 pair of sides. There's not enough information, so the answer is no. Let's look at question number 6. We know that is a right angle, and they are congruent. We know that this side is congruent to this side. This angle is also congruent to that angle. So do we have enough information to prove that those are congruent? And the answer is yes, because this angle, there's a side in between this angle. Now, I didn't erase the triangle, but I'm just going to do it right now. And that's angle, side, angle. Okay, moving on. Let's look at question number 7. We have this side congruent to this side. We have this side congruent to this side. And then we have an angle right here, angle right here. So we have a side, angle, side. Now, does that give us enough information to prove that that is congruent? Well, let's see. Another thing you got to look at as you are moving through this is paying attention where the corresponding pieces to each triangle is. Notice here in this example that the congruent or the angle that is marked is actually in between the 2 sides, to whereas over here it is not. It is outside of these 2 sides. So the angle that is congruent is actually in a different spot on both triangles. So you would say no, that does not work. All right, let's keep going. And of course, as you go through this, please feel free to pause the video. Let's look at question number 9. That side is, or that angle is congruent to that angle through vertical angles. Remember, you always got to remember that, because a lot of times on a vertical angle situation, they are not going to mark the angle. All right, so that's something that you should know going into these problems. This side is congruent to this side. This side is congruent to this side. So we have 3 pieces, and all corresponding pieces work. So I'm just going to take this out just to kind of look. That is a side. That is a side with an angle in between. And so we have a side, angle, side. All right. So let's keep moving on. So we're going to go ahead and skip that just due to time, but feel free to work on this if you want to as the video is playing. And so the answer key is this right here. So be sure to check your work as we're going through it. And hopefully you guys got this. And so as soon as I finish with this right here, we're done. And please feel free to ask me any questions when you see me tomorrow in class. Y'all have a good day.